Hello guys, today I want to show you guys my new Invoked Dogmatika control deck. Yeah, let's just start with it. Yeah, obviously 3L Study Invoker, one of the two main engines of the deck. To go with the Alistair, the Magical Meltdown, which got not limited in the last Forbidden and Limited list, which is really good. You can still play this deck with only one Meltdown, maybe then play one set rotation or stuff like that, but it will just get to the consistency of this deck, and yeah, it will be way worse when they limit Meltdown. So to get the Meltdown, the one Terraforming, and only two Invocation, you could play three or only one, but if you play only one, it's like when you draw the Invocation, also the Alistair, then you can't make plus, and if you only play if you play three, maybe you draw it too often without the Alistair. And yeah, and this is not the Mech Invoke deck, so you can't just set the invocation to special summon a Mech Knight. So I think 2 is like the perfect number of invocations in this deck. Now for the Dogmatika part of the deck, obviously 3 Nadir Servant, one of the most powerful searcher that has ever been printed. Yeah, this one, if you don't know, lets you lay one monster from your extra deck to the graveyard and also search you a Dogmatika monster, which is like really crazy because you can send Antis or Titaniclet. So yeah, this is like a double search or a shoot and a search, so it's really powerful. I would even say it's not as powerful as Engage, but it's like just a bit under Engage of power level. Then also Ecclesia. Ecclesia is next to Nadir Servant, your main searcher. Both those guys lock you out for the of the extra deck for the until the end of the turn. So yeah, they're really powerful, but they come to with a cost. But if you do all your extra deck stuff first and then go with the Dogmatika stuff, it's like really OP. Yeah, Ecclesia, it searches your Dogmatika card. Not monster card, so you can also search spell and traps. And she also can special summon herself from the hand if there is an extra deck monster on the field. So also if your opponent has one. And also she can't be destroyed by battle with a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck. So one card that Ecclesia usually searches is Fleur-de-Lis. I decided to play 2 in this version because it helps you with the grind game, and sometimes it's also good if you hard draw this. Yeah, this one is you can special summon her when a monster summoned from the extra deck is on the field as a quick effect in the main phase, so you can also do it in your opponent's main phase. And if another Dogmatika monster is on the field, she can non-target negate a monster, and this is all in the same chain, in the same effect where she special summons. And also she can push the attack of all Dogmatika monsters for 500 if one of them attacks, and this is also permanent. So if they go, then it's away, but until they're on the field, they will have their attack push permanently. And yeah, but in this deck, I decided to not play Maximus and then otherwise go for 3 Dogmatika Punishment. Yeah, I think Maximus right now is at least sideable because Maximus lets you and your opponent send 2 monsters from the extra deck to the graveyard. But this is really problematic if they play like Cyber Dragon Nova and special summon Mechaba out of that, or just play Antis and shoot your card. So I think it's better to just search with Ecclesia the Dogmatika Punishment, because Punishment is also a 2-for-1, because it shoots a monster and then you can send a monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. But this one locks you out for the opponent's turn and also for your turn. So this is like a higher reward, but also higher risk. So yeah, but I think it's anyway a really good card, especially because you can search it with Trap Trick. So I think Trap Trick is also an engine card in this deck, but you can also go for other traps. So that's why I think this deck is like really good with traps, because yeah, Trap Trick searches your engine. So this is all your engine. So if you just draw Handtraps and also a Trap Trick, you can still play, and the opponent normally can't play if you have like 4 Handtraps and also Trap Trick, which you can set with Dogmatika Punishment, and then Dogmatika Punishment sends Titaniclet. Titaniclet can search you in the end phase, and then from there you can go on get Ecclesia and play, and the opponent can't because you can interrupt him like 4 times. Yeah, speaking of more traps, for the non-engine removal cards or the utility cards, I decided to play Ice Strength Prison because this card is like really strong. What it does is it special summons a monster from your opponent's graveyard and then banishes 2 cards with the same type on the field. And yeah, this one can non-target banish Dragoon, or let's say the opponent has one Golden Lord, that you could take another one from their graveyard and banish both. So this card is like a really strong removal card, and it's also a normal trap, so you can set it with Trap Trick. And also this card, it can be used as an extender if your opponent doesn't have a monster that you want to be removed. This is also really great just as an extender, because you don't have that many monsters to special and to combo off and to go into Link monster, and sometimes you just need another monster, then you can just go with Ice Strength Prison. Then also a really good card right now, Forbidden Droplet. This is like one of the most OP cards in this deck, especially because if you go second and then you normal an Alistair and they use like Impermanence or a Whaler on it, you just chain the Droplet, tribute the Alistair, and then negate another card on their field, and so you will just get the Alistair search and also the free material for this card, and they can't Impermanence or Whaler it. So this is like one of the MVP cards in this deck. And yeah, then the Lonely Cult by the Grave, you're only allowed to play one. I don't know why, but you only can play one. And then one Super Poly, this one is for outing Dragoon. You just played one Anaconda in your extra deck, so you can just out Dragoon with this one Super Poly. And sometimes the one-off comes good. If you have an Alistair, it gets ashed, and then you will just let it stay on the field, set the Super Poly, and then you can go into Alistair in the next into Mechaba the next turn with one of their cards or whatever they play. So you can also use it as an interruption. I think I would play 3 Super Poly if there wasn't the Buster Lock in the meta, but right now you can't really play Super Poly because of the Buster Lock. Now for the Handtraps, I decided to play 3 Ash Blossom because it's like the most versatile card, and also it helps a lot against Dragon Link and also Infernoble, so I think Ash Blossom is really good right now. Then also Impermanence, for the same reasons like Ash Blossom, really versatile, and you can also set this one with the Trap Trick. So it serves like more than just the hand trap purpose. It's also an interruption. Let's say you already have the Ice Strength Prison and Dogmatika Punishment, they're both once per turn, then you can still use the Trap Trick and just set an Impermanence, and then you're good. And I'm also playing 4 more hand traps. I decided to go back with Nibiru into the main deck because right now it's like really hard for the Dragon Link and also the Infernoble to get the negate for the 5 summon. Yeah, the Infernoble sometimes can just go for the Gilfried, but yeah, against Dragon Link this deck just struggles a lot if it has to go second. So I think Nibiru is like a good way to interrupt it. And sometimes also, if you have like 2 impermanences, this is not enough against Dragon Link. So if you have an impermanence and also a Nibiru, this is most of the time this is enough to out their board. And also 2 Ghost Ogre because it's also pretty good against Dragon Link. And yeah, this deck just normally wins against the most control decks. It just struggles sometimes against one of those 2 of those strong combo decks. So yeah, Dragon Link and Infernoble are this deck's only big problems. It also wins like easily against Eldritch because you have the Strength Prison in the main deck, and this deck can also grind insanely. Alright, now for the extra deck. For the Invoke cards, I decided to play 2 Mechaba because I think you always need like 2 in like 50% of the games I go into the second one, but I think I never needed the third one, so I think 2 is like the perfect number to play. And then 1 Invoked Augidis. This is one of the strongest cards. I think it's so strong in this deck because you can just banish the Titanic Clad and then go for this guy or banish the Entes. So yeah, and this one can not only shoot monsters, it can also get its attack points very high to out for something like a Dragoon or a protected Eldritch, the Golden Lord. So I think Aguiz is one of the best cards. You could also up this to 2, but I think he's harder to summon than Mechaba, so it's better to play him at 1. Then one Purgatrio. This is like really easy to summon with just Almirage, and I think Purgatrio is just an OTK machine and a board clay machine, so I think you should play him at least at one. And also one Elysium. This is pretty good with super powerly, but also a generic out against like almost anything because it just non-target banishes like the Ice Rings Prison. So sometimes if you have to out a Dragoon or other cards that are like dump Eldritch Golden Lord with his protection effects, Elysium is your going-to card. Now for the cards to send with the Dogmatika cards, I'm only playing one Entis. I tested a lot with this deck and I played two Entis a long time, but I think one Entis is like really enough because you play two Titaniclad. And yeah, well, I think one Entis was enough because you can shoot so much with this deck, also with Ice Rings Prison, that I think one Entis comes up often, but I never missed the second one. You can play a second one if you want to. But I think it's really important to play two Titaniclad because you just go shoot something, dump him into the grave, search Ecclesia, search the next trap, then dump another Titaniclad. So I think this is like really good for the grind game to play two. I think it's actually necessary in this deck to play two because you play this heavy trap lineup. Then for your super poly targets, one Mad Dragon, it's like the most generic one, and then Dragostapelia. This needs like a fusion and a dark monster, which is like Anaconda and Dragoon. So this is like really good to out Dragoon, and then you will also have like a negate with Dragostapelia. So I think this is a really good fusion super poly target right now. Now for the link monsters, I'm playing 5. One Salamon Great Almirage and Secure Guard. This is just like for the Yellowstar play in the first turn, so I think this is like really good. And this is what makes the Invoked Engine really strong right now. If they take Secure Guard, the Invoked Engine is like way more weak. So this is like really important to play this. Then the Wordy Anaconda for the Super Poly plays, I think it's like really important to just have an out with two monsters against Dragoon if they already used their negate, so yeah. And then one Cross Sheep. This is like one of the best cards in this deck, I have to say, if you go into a Link 2, because it synergizates really good with Ice Rings Prison and also with Ecclesia. Because let's say you have a Cross Sheep and then Ice Rings Prison set, and there's line like Purgatrio right here, and the Cross Sheep points to it. Then you can use the Ice Rings Prison, but I have to admit, I talked to some judges and they told me this only works in the EU. You can take a monster from the opponent's graveyard, just special summon it into the zone of the Cross Sheep with the Ice Dragon's Prison, and then banish it and banish also another monster, and then the Cross Sheep will still trigger. But this will only happen in the EU. They told me. I don't know why, but in other regions this won't work. In other regions you would you have to let the monsters stay into the zone of Cross Sheep. But it's like really OP. If you do this, then you can just special summon back an Ecclesia in the opponent's turn, and then Ecclesia will trigger and give you like another Dogmatika card, maybe a Fleur-de-Lis, then you can negate with the Fleur-de-Lis. It's like really strong. Cross Sheep is like the MVP of the Link monsters in this deck. And for the last Link monster, I'm playing Access Code Talker. It's like really good because if they let you go for the Link 4, you can out Dragoon with this guy. But you can just play whatever you like. You can also play Borrow Load, Borrow Sword, or whatever Link 4 you have there and you want to play. But I decided to play the Access Code because I have it, so why not? Alright, now for the side deck. As I said, your biggest problem are strong combo decks right now. Your biggest problem are the smoke grenade combo decks, which can just get you out the cards of your hand. If they don't hand loop you, you have a really good chance to play through stuff with Droplet, and also the Nadir Servant is a really good going second card when you send Entis. So I think if they don't hand loop you, you won't have a really big problem. But right now with smoke grenade, they can just hand loop you and stuff. So it's really important to play cards that can out this, and that's why I'm playing the Gamma in the side deck. Gamma is right now one of the best Handtraps you could play. I played it in the main deck before, but I think this was like really important Uh, Not important. I think that this was not that good because you play in a deck with a good grind game, and you always go into the grind game. And Gamma is like the worst card in the grind game if you top deck it, because if you have a monster, it's like useless. It's the same with Drawl. Drawl is also really bad in the grind game, but can easily stop the deck I'm right now playing, or the combo decks like Dragon Link. And yeah, I think it's like an out card that just says no, because the Dragon Link can easily play through 2 Handtraps. So it's like no problem for them, but it's harder to play against a Floodgate Handtrap. This is what Droll is. And also Gamma just removes their monster and negates it. So it's like way harder to play through Gamma for them. What is also a really big problem for this deck is cards like Evenly Matched or Lightning Storm. And I think Lightning Storm is easier to out because sometimes you can just let Meltdown or stuff like that, or another invocation on your hand, and then just negate it with Mechaba. But most of the traps you really want to set. Sometimes you don't have to set 2 punishment, and you can leave 1 in the hand, and then you can out the evenly matched. But I think it's really helpful to just play the big artifact engine with Scythe, because Scythe is sometimes an instant win against a lot of the combo decks. And also Lancia is like such a good card, and you also Sanctum can also be just searched with the trap trick. So I think this is like really strong, and you should play this engine because it prevents evenly from coming off. So yeah, and also Lancia is really good against something like Eldritch, and also against Invoked or Dinosaurs. So yeah, Dinosaurs, Scythe is not really good against Dinosaurs, but Lancia is like MVP against Dinosaurs. So yeah, Sanctum is like one of the best cards to play right now in the side deck. Okay, this deck has like a really big problem with combo decks, but it doesn't have a big problem with with like other back row decks or grind game decks. So yeah, I'm only playing 3 Cosmic Cyclone and 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, because this is like the only thing you need against something like maybe Mystic Mine or stuff like that. Yeah, Mystic Mine is like really a pain in the ass because you only play the 3 Cosmic Cyclone, but it will always be so, even if you play more removal. And yeah, I think against Eldritch is the only stuff you need. And otherwise your main deck is like really good against back row decks. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos, I guess.